This is weird.
Why?
Because, like, we've never been ready this quickly.
I mean, we're winging this one.
I mean, I guess, but...
You didn't write anything down.
No. I mean, it's just weird, though, because I'm like, crap, are we going to have anything to draw from for the cold open? We haven't even said anything funny yet.
I mean, if worse come to worse, we can always just figure something out from another cold open and just mesh them together.
Well, and sometimes I pull from stuff that's like in the middle of the show.
And sometimes some cold opens, we do more than just one, and you can only use one per episode. So, like, sometimes there's more than just one thing that's funny.
Yeah. I don't usually save those, though.
You're usually not funny, though. Are you ready for the magic?
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of From Art to Atoms,
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
I'm Brandon Shoemaker.
I'm Michael Foles.
And this week we are, we'll be honest, we're kind of winging it.
Yeah, well, it's also, do we say we're pre-recording this in the summertime?
Yeah, we've said that, or we'll say that in previous episodes.
Okay, well, then delete that out. So we just got finished wrapping up. We went to the movies together in summer. So this is when we kind of see our movies. And Brandon saw a movie for the first time, and it was my second time seeing it. And that was
Superman.
Yay! And it was good.
I liked it. Yeah. I the last incarnation, the Henry Cavill Superman movies were okay. They weren't my favorite, but I didn't hate them either. But then I also didn't hate Superman Returns like the majority of the universe. But
that was not my favorite.
I know, it was nobody's favorite. It wasn't my favorite at all, but I mean, I didn't hate it. But no, I liked it, and I will say, you know, if you haven't seen it, we're not going to spoil anything or anything like that with it. But I will say that I think they kept all the right things in place. We talked about this in the car before we got back over here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you still hear, it's not the main theme at the opening or anything like that. But
or throughout, yeah.
Yeah, but you hear the specific strains of the original John Williams theme throughout the orchestration.
And I like the updated version of it.
Yeah. No, I liked it. And I liked how it was just like a little nod, a little hint to it, which I really appreciated. And I really appreciated the fact that they kept the Fortress of Solitude in its crystalline frozen form.
James Gunn, like, they did an interview with him, and that was one of the things that he said in doing this, that there were some things he had to eliminate out, but there were some things that he was very specific to keep in. And the Fortress is one of those things. And you know,
because I know in the comics, the Fortress was not originally like that, was it?
Yes. Yeah, it was, but it was very much, he's had different fortresses.
Yeah. Cause he had one in like the Aztec.
There was one in the Amazon, right?
Or the Amazon. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. There was one down there, and there's been different incarnations.
Yeah. Basically, because Lex finds it and he has to find a new home. Right?
It's just like the Justice League Watchtower. Like, they've had the one on the moon, then they've had the Hall of Justice, then they've had the one that was the space station orbiting the planet. Then they go back and forth between, you know, like, so it's very weird.
Yeah.
They just, I don't know, in the world of super meta humans, I guess you have the money to just keep on building these things.
Right. I thought you had told me long ago, and I might have just totally gotten this wrong, but I thought you told me that the frozen Fortress of Solitude was original to the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeve.
I don't remember. Possibly.
Okay.
I want to say that I don't know if they pulled it into the comics, because I think it first appears in the 80s.
Okay, so maybe it was. Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of anything in the 70s where he had some kind of headquarters.
Oh, so the fortress itself might have been original to the movie.
I think so.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
I think so. Let me look it up. So we ended up watching this movie, And so there were a lot of good elements in it. You can definitely see where Gunn is kind of modeling it, like Brandon said, modeling it after
the Marvel
franchise, right? Where they're going to start with phase 1, which was it Gods and Monsters, I think. And then phase 2 will come out and phase 3 will come out. And just like with Marvel did, they have a long succession of lines of what's going to happen.
And isn't that tagline of Gods and Monsters something from the DC Comics?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's also a line from, I think from Frankenstein, but that's just the English person in me. And then I have to say, of course, which I'm sure is going to be the most popular thing from the movie, I absolutely loved Crypto finally getting an appearance. And not just an appearance. I mean, he is an integral character in the movie.
But what, and I'll say this, I went to pick up my comics today and we were talking at the shop about that, about the movie. And there was like a lot of the fans, as far as if you have read for a long time, there is a lot of speculation or skepticism, I guess. Every time there's a new movie comes out. How true is it to the character in the books? Yeah. And, Crypto in this one, in the Super Friends, when they had the super pets, and Crypto was the talking dog, they did that one more modernly. And then they also did in the Super Friends in the 70s, Crypto was, Superman could tell Crypto an order and he would listen and obey. Yeah. And in this one, he's a dog. Yeah. And not even Superman's dog. I'm not going to tell you whose dog it is, but he does not follow commands at all.
No. Well, but that's, because I told Michael, he said, what have you heard about this movie so far? And I said, nothing. I've intentionally kind of watched nothing. But the one thing that I had seen that I forgot about was the fact that the director, James Gunn, modeled Crypto. In fact, his own dog, I forget the name, but that his dog was the actual actor for Crypto. They did the motion tracking, where they put the dots or suits or whatever on usually an actor, but they put it on his dog, and that's, with the droopy ear and everything like that, that is his actual dog. He's just not a white dog. But that they modeled even his personality on that dog, which apparently is very mischievous and doesn't really listen to commands and things like that. And so, he wanted to capture that essence in Crypto of just being a regular dog. There are several elements in this movie that really try to put Superman in a very ordinary space. And that's something initially that I was skeptical of when the movie first started and I saw some things, but by the end of it, I got it and I appreciated it. But it really does. It's not like Metropolis is some city on a hill, if you will.
Did you notice on Lois's car it said Delaware? She had Delaware plates.
Yes, I did.
And I thought that was kind of odd because usually Metropolis is seen as in like a Chicago-ish or New York-y kind of city. And usually I don't know if they do it in Illinois because Metropolis, Illinois is a real city, but it's not a metropolitan area. Yeah. But they usually kind of keep it to where it's more like Chicago, where Gotham is more like New York.
Yeah, or vice versa, isn't it?
I thought maybe. Yeah, maybe. Well, they both have bays. They both have a waterway features, and stuff like that, right? But I did notice it was in Delaware that her car license plate was on there, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I know. Well, because when they first showed it in the shot, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting," and then I was like, "They probably won't even show it in the next shot." But then when they went back to her, it was still there invisible. I was like, "Okay, well, that's intentional." Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by that.
I think it's a good move. I don't think, because it makes sense to be right there on the river. So looking up really fast. So the idea of the Fortress of Solitude first appeared in the 1930s and 40s with a character named Doc Savage. The Golden Age Superman does not have an Arctic fortress, but instead a mountain sanctuary, which is located in the mountain ranges in the outskirts of Metropolis.
And Golden Age is when?
Golden Age would be in the 40s, the 30s and 40s, that range. The Silver Age, which debuted in 58, his Silver Age fortress in 58, which is the first time you see it in the Arctic and serves a similar purpose as the other one, where he keeps various tools and a diary and equipment and trophies. This one is built into the side of a steep cliff And that's the one that you see that has the giant keyhole. He's got to pick up the giant key.
Oh, okay.
To get into that one. Let's see. And then more modernly, he goes back and forth between the mountain and that one over time. And then you're looking at the fortress in 1981 finally becomes what it is now.
Which was after
right.
The crystal. Okay, so yeah, it was that the crystalline Fortress of Solitude was original to the movie.
Right, and they probably just kind of stuck with that through the comic books. But it doesn't look like it was crystalline, because this one looked like the one that I notice with the one with the giant key is usually just kind of inside the side of a glacier kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just has that look to it. It doesn't have like a crystalline look to it.
Yeah.
But then, they do mention the one in the Amazon, stuff like that. I know right now, currently in the book, it's in the Antarctic. Yeah. So, but it was good. It humanized him a lot, I think.
I agree. Superman did not feel super.
Nope.
Nope. He was a person. He was an authentic person, and he had vulnerable sides, emotional vulnerabilities.
I think they did a good job with Clark Kent too.
Yeah,
I love the balance between the two characters. It wasn't this person on and person off. It wasn't, and I know that Christopher Reeves, that character, he was a bumbling idiot, and that's kind of overcompensating when he plays Clark, because he has to make himself look like an idiot to kind of counteract.
But he still had a little element of that.
It was the G golly element.
Yes.
It wasn't the idiot. It was the farm boy element.
Yes. Yeah.
And he even said, in the very beginning, he said golly, like he said one of his catchphrases,
Yeah.
So they did a very good job of that. Lois was excellent.
Oh, Rachel Brosnahan was, I leaned over to Michael early on in the movie and said, I love her. She has a very sort of Margot Kidder quality.
Right. And, they're focusing on the main Daily Planet cast. So you have Perry White, you have Jimmy Olsen, obviously, Superman's pal. You have Lois. But then the three kind of side characters that have been stuck with the comic for the past 30 or 40 years now. Cat Grant, Vince Lombardi, who is the sports editor. And then
his name is Vince Lombardi.
I think Vince Lombard. Yeah.
Oh, Lombard. Okay.
Yeah. And then Ron Troop. And Ron came in after Superman died in 93. He was introduced as a character. He was hired at the planet as a replacement for Clark because Clark was dead at that point, or missing after Doomsday attacked. And he's kind of been stuck in that world of the comic. And so they're keeping them all alive. They gave them personality. You got to see them and their interactions together.
Yeah.
And what Brandon said when we came back, and it was really nice, is because this takes place 3 years after he's introduced as Superman into the city.
Yeah.
And so there's some establishment already there. It's not an origin story, which is great, because if we had to sit through another origin story.
I know everybody knows the origin of Superman. Like, let's move on.
It's just like every Batman movie they do, or every Batman reiteration. It's always like, here's the origin. We already know, and so this one was really nice. It didn't give the origin at all.
No. But that's the thing that I liked too about it. It sort of canonized the Christopher Reeve origin story. It felt very like, kind of like what Superman Returns set out to do. Yeah. It set out to be the sequel after Superman 2.
Right.
It's 3 and 4 never happened.
It's like not even 2. It's like 1 happened and you got that origin story, and then this picks up.
No. I meant Superman Returns. That was the goal with it. But this is like,
it just feels like a day in the life.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it feels like. It doesn't feel like it was just. Yeah. It feels like it was just a day in a life, because it picks up in the middle of a battle. Yeah. Like that's where it starts. And it just. Yeah.
There was no slow burn at the beginning or anything like that. It was it was in media ray, as we call it in the literary world, beginning in the middle of things.
So with that, we're going to talk today. How long? I mean, that was like 10 minutes.
15, yeah.
Yeah, so we haven't even gotten today's subject. So with that...
So, go ahead. Sorry.
Our subject today, we're going to talk about...
It's not Superman.
No, it's not. But it leads to stuff like that, because it's the things that we do in the summertime. It's summer.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of talk a little bit about summer, share some of our summer memories, kind of... Brandon wants to talk about teacher myths of summertime, I guess.
Yes.
So we're just going to kind of theme this around summer.
Yeah. So we, obviously, we're pre-recording this episode, like several of them that you'll hear the season. And that's kind of the fun of it for us too, because we don't really know yet where this episode is going to fall in the season. But so if it's long past summer, it definitely will be after school is back. So at least we hope that this gives you a little twinkle of, summer. Yes, that was nice for as long as it lasted. And hopefully it's a little less hot now than it is right now, because we just had a really bad heat advisory come out, and the high today is 102. So, but yeah, with that said, summers, and that's why we wanted to start out with the movie, because I know for me, summers, for me, summers were always a time for going to the movies. And that's it was a tradition that my mom and I sort of established when I was a kid, because she was a teacher too. So she was off for the summer. And so she would take me to the movies, and we would go see sometimes 4 or 5 movies throughout the summer. Mm-hmm. And that's still kind of something that I do, today, not that many usually. Although last year we saw quite a few, didn't we? Or was it the year before?
I don't really remember.
It was either last year or the year before. We saw several, but anyway, so it's because I'll be honest, like during the school year, I never have time to go to the movies. The only movie that I saw throughout the school year this past year was Wicked.
Yeah, I don't think that we actually do. Thomas and I don't do movies, I think, during the school year. We do around Thanksgiving, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't go during the school. But in all honesty, if there's something that comes out that we kind of really like,
right,
then we're going to go ahead and go see it.
Yeah. Like we'll go see the
Fantastic
sequel
Four,
to Wicked.
Yeah. And Fantastic Four is coming out, in a couple of weeks too. So we're going to go see that.
No, that'll be the last week.
Yeah.
Well, we will be back in school that weekend.
Correct.
By then. Oh, God.
I won't be. You will be. Congratulations. But
Arkansas boy.
The thing is like, that goes to like summer is really a good time when the movies that we want to see come out. And that just kind of falls in place with the way it is.
Well, yeah. And the interesting thing about that is because movie studios have capitalized on that for a while now because of the creation of the summer blockbuster, which I know the first summer blockbuster ever was one of your favorite movies.
And it is celebrating 50 years.
30.
It is celebrating 50 years this year.
Yeah.
And that movie is Jaws.
I'm going to put the theme music in that pause right before you say the name.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And so Jaws is celebrating 50 years. It is considered the first summer blockbuster movie ever.
Yeah.
And that is involving marketing. That involves, just the movie itself.
Yeah.
But the massive amount of money that's poured into these premieres.
Yeah. And one thing, and I don't know, and you might have, because didn't you watch a documentary recently about the premiere of Jaws or something?
Yeah, because they're all over the place right now.
Yeah. Well, because was the intention for it to be a summer blockbuster, or was it just simply the fact that it was about people going to the beach, so they wanted to release it in summer?
Yes. And they honestly thought, if you listen to Spielberg, he thought this was going to be his career ending because he was kind of a medium director at that point.
Yeah.
He wasn't like he is now, but he'll say that he thought this was going to end his career.
Yeah.
Like he really did.
A big animatronic shark. How is that ever going to be
well, and so what he did when you watch the documentaries, that Brandon's talking about the shark, it was built by engineers, but not, I guess, built with the mindset of it's going to be in salt water for such an extended period of time. So this shark always broke down. It didn't work. And so Spielberg had to work around that. They were only scheduled, I think, for 45 to 50 days of shooting. And that extended to almost 170 days.
Wow.
Because of the breakdowns. So Spielberg had to go in and figure out what to do. And so when you see, you're halfway through the movie before you even see the mechanical shark,
which is part of what makes it work and
what
makes it
because he built suspense through just the POV of the shark itself.
Yeah.
And with Williams' score, again, John Williams,
God, I love everything he's ever done.
That built the suspense of and so it worked, but people were just blown out of the water like with this movie because it was graphic and it was such a suspenseful thing. They have parties now where people go into the beach and they're sitting in water watching this thing on an inflatable screen.
That crazy.
Or a pool. Like I wouldn't even watch it in a pool.
Oh, I would totally watch it in a pool, but in the open water, no, sir.
Yeah, no, not me.
Not no. I mean, I don't get in the ocean anymore anyway, but
there are some
because
times
of
I
sharks.
watch it like
with your
at
feet
home.
pulled up on the
yeah, and I'm afraid to get off the couch.
The couch is your island.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, and that just goes back to summer blockbusters. I remember that, going to the movies was a big part of summer. Like it was. We were out of school.
Yeah.
Especially as teenagers, and you worked at the movie store. So that was definitely a big thing for you.
Oh yeah. When I was a teenager in high school, I worked in different video stores. And so we would, okay, let me back up because again, they're extinct now. Summer was an interesting time for them because you had a lot of competition with summer blockbusters coming out in the theaters. So a lot of times people would trickle off on renting at that time. But then that was really one of the big times when we would promote previous year's summer blockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting that, now that's not even a thing anymore. But if you look at streaming services, they're doing the same thing. They're promoting, obviously, Jaws for the anniversary, but they're promoting, previous year's summer blockbusters. I remember seeing Independence Day being promoted on whichever streaming platform it's on. I forget. Not too long ago, just a few weeks ago. And that's another movie that me and both my parents actually went to see in the theater in summer when it originally came out.
Yeah. I know Brandon this summer, he's gone on 2 trips. I have yet to go on one. He went.
Well, one was a school trip
function, but still, I don't envy your trips though, because you drive. That trip.
I did. So one trip we took to the International Thespian Festival, which I think so our summer recap episode we're recording at the end of the summer. So by this point, when this airs, I will have already talked about that.
Yes.
But I took the trip to International Thespian Festival and everybody went, woohoo. But yeah, we drove 10 hours to get there, which really for me was not a problem at all. Because number one, again, summer is all about road trips for some, at least. But that one wasn't bad at all for me for 2 reasons. Number one, because Kenzie went with us. And so she did half the driving. In fact, more than half on the way back. And so that was fantastic because I didn't have to do all the driving. And 10 hours is significantly shorter than the drive for me to go back home when I drive back home instead of fly. So when I go back to the Carolinas, that's this time since I was going the bad way through the time zones and all the way to the beach, because I went to Vicky's beach house first. It was a 15-hour drive with add an extra hour on there because of losing an hour in the time zone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's I know that the first trip was fun, but it was in no way a vacation because I was literally working the whole time. Kenzie being 20 years my junior was still just as exhausted as I was after we got back because we were going nonstop. And then I was home for 4 days and then turned around and went to
Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. So that was crazy. So I am still not fully recovered from all those. How long ago was it that I got back? It hasn't even been a week
from Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. I got back last Friday. Yeah. And this is Wednesday. So yeah, it's been 5 days. I've been home 5 days so far.
Yeah.
So,
but let's talk about your summer traditions, like your family's traditions. I think you had more than I did.
Yeah.
Because your mom was a teacher, so she obviously was off during the summer with you. Mine worked, so we didn't have much.
Right. It's funny you should say that. I have a chapter in my memoir that I need to keep working on that is devoted to summers, and I talk about all this. But yeah, Mom and I were, especially before I was in high school, before I was able to drive on my own, Mom and I were like attached at the hip.
Mm-hmm.
We would do all kinds of different things. I would usually take like a week-long day camp at some point in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I remember doing a theater camp, shocker. At one point, I did a what we would call today probably a STEM or STEAM camp that was a bunch of different things that were just like really fun, cool elementary science experiments and things like that. Like we grew crystals and, different things like that. But is that bad that that's the one thing that I remember from that is growing crystals?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, it's before things like robotics were as popular, so I'm sure it would have, in today's incarnation, it would have been robotics and stuff, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then we would always do lots of summer shopping. My mom was an old school Kmart shopper. When Walmart blew everything else out of the water, she was not there for it. She was diehard Kmart all the way. So, we would do that, and I would just, dutifully follow along, and then I knew if I kept my mouth shut long enough, then I would probably get a Happy Meal for lunch. So, and then, other like summer traditions were just the simple things like going out in the backyard and playing for like 5 minutes, if that, because it was too hot. And then I would go back inside. Mm-hmm. It always looked so and still does. Like I'll look out the window now and think, oh, it looks so great out there. Let's go outside and enjoy it. And then I'd set one foot out and I'm like, I'm good, just because of the heat. But yeah, I was the same way as a child. I would go out for maybe 5 minutes and then turn around and go back inside because I'd had enough of that. And mom was, I get my hot naturedness from her. So, she was not interested in trying to do, she did garden and stuff like that, but not in the dog days of summer. So we spent, when we weren't out shopping or at a camp or going to movies, we would, we had sort of our television rituals, which included every day on Fox, the Fox affiliate at that time in the afternoons would show Perry Mason followed by Matlock.
Okay.
And those were our two summer things, because of course we watched Designing Women and the Golden Girls when they came on, but they came on after school hours. So we watched that all year round. But Matlock especially was one of mine and my mom's favorites, and that we couldn't get, or couldn't watch during the school year because it was on at like 1 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
So really that's where a lot of my summer memories center around are really just some of the simple things. But we did every year, we would take a vacation somewhere. We would do a week-long vacation. My parents owned a timeshare in Myrtle Beach. And so that I remembered loving the term because it sounded so exotic and like astronaut-y or NASA related. They would space bank their timeshare, which would basically mean that they would put their week at the beach up for somebody else to take. And that meant that we could then take a week from somebody else somewhere else, which is how timeshares work. But no, we did all kinds of things. Like a lot of times we would go to the beach, but we would go on a different week than what we owned, because we owned a week in April, which never coincided with our spring break, except for once after mom had died and I had graduated. I was already in college and it lined up with my college spring break. And so I was like, well, by golly, I'm going to use it. So yeah, I convinced my dad to let me and Charlotte go down for the week. And so that was great. But anyway.
Well, let me ask you this. Going out there, what was your favorite destination that you guys went to?
Gosh. I remember distinctly Florida. We went to, actually, well, that wasn't it still counts. It's still a vacation, but no, we went to Disney World with my cousins, David and Emily and Dennis and Vicky. We all went down together, and that was really cool because we kind of, it was like a true road trip where we stopped multiple times along the way.
Yeah.
Because we stopped our first stop was in Savannah, Georgia, and we stayed there overnight and got to explore Savannah. And then we left the next day and I don't remember where we stopped that next night, but it was someplace else in between, which really wouldn't have been that far of a drive from Savannah to Orlando. But I think that was part of the plan, was that they wanted to, have this road trip with multiple stops and stuff. It was wherever, oh gosh, it's, is it Silver Springs, Florida? I don't know.
There's a Silver Springs, Florida, I believe.
I think that might be it, but it's where there was a movie studio that they turned into sort of a tourist attraction or something. I remember it was where some of the old Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan movies were filmed, and several different things. Some of the James Bond movies, their underwater scenes were filmed there, and different things. But anyway, I think that was Silver Springs. I'd have to look it up now. Or if somebody out there listening knows, then shoot us a message on Instagram and let me know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then, because I remember Dad had a camcorder back then, one of the old school ones that was giant, like a TV correspondent that had to sit on his shoulder.
Like the ones they would find on America's Home Video.
Yes.
America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yes.
Very first seasons or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, when Bob Saget would come out and it had.
Yeah. Literally sat on your shoulder. My dad had one of those and took it to Disney World. Can you imagine?
Not carrying that thing around the whole day, no.
I know, but he did. I never, I don't even take my digital SLR camera anywhere when I travel because that's too bulky for him.
Yeah.
If I can't take a picture of it on my phone, I don't want it.
Well, I feel like if you're carrying something that around that big, you don't get to fully enjoy.
Oh, I know he did, but
because you're too busy lugging the thing around.
Yeah, but he loved documenting this. Like, I mean, I still have them somewhere. Because I think it was on 2 different video cassettes that he recorded this trip with us. But yeah, he was like a little documentarian, just following along with us. But anyway, when we finally got to Disney World, he's because he's also narrating it while he's filming everything. I think that was probably the most fun for him because he got to be a ham behind the camera. But he said the Griswolds finally make it to Wally World when we got to Disney World. So that was, having not seen National Lampoon's Vacation until later on in life, I didn't fully appreciate that joke that he made. But yeah, it was kind of like that where we were, making stops along the way and finally arriving at Disney World.
Yeah. We see, so for vacations for us, Mom, we didn't really go on yearly family vacations. My uncle had a house out in Mississippi and we would always go there because he had a big lake, you know, with like a little small canals, I guess, connected off of the lake. And they would build properties. They would build houses off all these little canals off the main lake, and that's how they marketed it, I guess. So we'd spend a lot of time there. I remember we did summer camps a few years when we were younger, but Dad had us usually over the summertime as kids. And we didn't go on vacation with them. We were not invited on vacation with them. That was my stepmom, my dad, and my little brother would go. Like that was their family vacation. So we didn't go. And so I remember being 12 and 13 and Mom would send me to my uncle's house in Mississippi, the house, and so I spent 2 summers out there in early teen years, just living with them, which was great. And so
you've often talked about those.
When they would go on vacation, I would go. Like I remember going to Fontana Dam in North Carolina.
Oh, cool.
We went up there with them. Like I went up there with them. And then there were times that we would just go to the Mississippi Gulf Coast and hang out at the beach there and stuff like that. But really, Fontana Dam is probably the most memorable vacation I have growing up with my uncle Paul, and my Aunt Vida. Yeah. So we didn't do a lot of vacationing.
Well, and that's something that I, because when I was a kid, I assumed that was what all families did. Right. And it wasn't until I had started talking to some of my other friends at school, and this was at least junior high, if not all the way up into high school, where I realized that was not the norm for necessarily everybody. There were a lot who did, but it was sort of interesting because I was, even as, a middle schooler or a high schooler, I was like quickly humbled and realized, oh, this is something that I need to be appreciative of because everybody doesn't get this. And it's something that I haven't done enough of as an adult, I've realized, which is why, because when's the last time a true vacation that wasn't simply going home to visit family, unless you count going to New York, which I do every year with the kids.
But that's a school trip. But I would say that Thomas and I's vacations, when we go and travel, that's usually what we do. We usually take a trip each summer to New Orleans
to see family.
Right.
Yeah.
Or to Lake Charles to see family. And, that occupies our vacation time. We don't ever get to go somewhere other than that.
Yeah. So I have done something on a total whim that is meant to help rectify that. So I back when I was booking our hotel reservations for the Thespian Festival, I always stay with Hampton Inn because I know that they have free breakfast and it's one less meal that I have to worry about making sure that the kids eat. So I always stay with them. And so they said, would you be willing to stay on the line for a few minutes to earn to listen to a spiel to earn an additional 10,000 Hilton Honors points? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so I got on with this call and I thought it was going to be a recording that I had to listen to, but no, it was a live person and she was just as pleasant as could be. And she and I had a great little conversation and she wound up selling me on a 3-night, 4-day stay at one of the Hilton Grand Vacation Resorts, it's basically, just a timeshare sales pitch, but I understand that going into it. So, yeah, I'm okay with sitting through a 2-hour presentation that I'm going to say thanks, but no thanks at the end of for 3 days and 4 nights, or excuse me, three nights and 4 days at a resort where I've only had to pay less than $200 for it.
Yeah. So let me say this, Brandon has been pushing this on me and Thomas now for a couple of months.
Pushing? Okay. Well, you don't have to go.
Really?
What?
Okay. See this. So that's pushing. Thank you.
Fine. Then you won't go. I will find somebody else to go.
But I think that part of my fear in that of committing to that is because I don't have the experience of going every single year. I am not a vacation person every single year. I didn't grow up that way. I'm not
buying the timeshare. This isn't going to be a yearly thing.
I know, but you know what I'm saying though? I just don't go on vacation. Holly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Holly, they go on vacation every year.
Yeah.
More than one vacation every year.
Yeah.
But they also plan that out a year out.
Yeah.
And they pay over the year and they go. And in my head, I've never done that before. I've never planned something a year out to have it ready for me for next summer. Because it never existed. Like you said, you were in middle school and you thought everyone took a family vacation every year. Well, that didn't happen for me. So for me, it's odd to have a family vacation every year because I didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
So for me to go on a vacation, it scares me. I'm not gonna lie, it scares me.
Just the expense of it? Is that what scares you?
Oh yeah.
You got to get over that. So anyway, the point with all this is that when I went back home to the beach, I had lunch with a friend of mine, Matt, who he travels at least once a year, often more, to exotic locations. I think he said they're going to Bali before the end of the summer, he and a group of his friends. And, I told him, I said, I kind of pulled the trigger on this thing on a whim, but I did it because I feel like I owe it to myself to do things and, to have those experiences as an adult when I can. And so I think you need to really offer yourself that same opportunity because I think you need it even more than I do.
Yeah, but if I'm going on vacation, I want it to be all inclusive. I want it to be where I don't have to pay for anything once I get there.
So yeah, at some point we still got to sit down and look at dates and plan that out. But what else is summer besides vacations and movies and day camps? We're out of school because we're both teachers. So now let's talk about all those myths that so many of our non-teacher friends think is the case for us. Okay. And now I will preface this by saying I'm talking to our non-teacher friends who are also not related to a teacher or married to a teacher, because those people tend to get it. Although not always. Some people think teachers have it made.
Which we don't.
No.
In the summertime, we don't.
So myth number 1. Oh, I would love your job. You get 3 months off in the summer.
Okay. First of all, 3 months used to be the case. It's not anymore.
I don't remember when it was the case, to be honest. Because ever since we've been alive, it's been 180 days that you're going. It's just a matter of when you put them. But anyway, yeah. Now 3 months is the norm if you're teaching in college, maybe.
Yeah.
But no, we don't even get 2 months anymore.
I do.
We probably get right at 2 months.
Yeah, I do. And you get 2 months off. Well, okay, but that's also like for Arkansas and several states. We are required to get our own professional development. So the state requires us to get so many hours of professional development each year.
Yeah.
And it is not built into our yearly schedule, our academic calendar schedule. And so I've been going to workshops, several times this summer just because I have to get those hours in. I'm required by the state to get those in. So that's on my own time.
Didn't you even have, no, you said that was a meeting this morning, but you were in what, a 4-hour meeting?
Yeah, it was 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
A committee meeting.
Yeah.
But that's because I serve on a committee.
Yeah. So anybody who thinks that teachers get 3 months off, you are sorely mistaken. If you do absolutely nothing work related in the summer, then yes, in theory, you can have about 2 months off.
Yep. And I will say also, like, I've been noticing a lot on the teacher talks and stuff like that a lot of the elementary teachers are going back into their classrooms now to start setting up, because it is very common in primary and elementary that teachers are moved every single year from classroom to classroom.
Yes.
It's less common in middle school and high school.
Oh no, it
happens.
It depends on the school.
Yeah,
it depends on the school and the administration.
It happens, but it's less common where, like, so for me, I will be in my classroom until I leave my school. Like, I will not change classrooms.
Well, also you're a science teacher, so
it's very designed for science, right?
Right.
It's not, but it's very much so where we don't. But, and so teachers have to go back in and start setting up. And I will also say that elementary teachers put themes on their classrooms, and then they have to go in and decorate to the theme and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Most secondaries don't theme it at all. We don't care.
No, but so case in point, my previous school, we had to take everything down.
Yeah.
From the walls, we had to, all the furniture, we had to consolidate and empty out because they would wax the floors every year.
I was just
so they would have to move that
this
out.
Year for me, floors got waxed. And so my classroom was completely empty and everything was in the hallway. And so when they put stuff back, they just kind of put it back. Like, it's just in there, in the room, out the hallway.
Yeah.
So now I have to go back in and we had to get everything off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's in cabinets or put away or something like that. So now I have to go in and kind of set up.
Yeah.
And if you're not a teacher, that is, I mean, it's stressful.
Yes.
It is.
It's incredibly stressful.
We're going to spend 10 months out of the year in that room.
Yeah.
And, and there's less. I've learned that newer teachers are like, I have to have my room ready by day one. I have learned that is not the case.
Yep.
That the school day will go on and no one will notice that it's not ready 100% by day one. So, but I do have to go in and move my desk back to where it was, get that all set up, because everything in my desk was emptied out because they flipped the desk on their sides to get them out the doors. So I have to put everything back in.
Yeah.
And so there is some prep time for that, and if you're a teacher like me, I don't like walking in on day one with nothing ready to go. Like my anxiety level will skyrocket if I don't have at least the first 2 weeks ready to go.
Yeah.
On day one, because I like to be 2 weeks ahead, but that's a personal preference. So that's just me. But I again,
well, no, that was going to be my next point, is that, we spend so much time in the summer planning for the next year. We may be doing it from the couch, but we might as well be working from home, because it's still just as arduous, just as involved as, if we were doing it sitting at our desk in our classrooms. That's no vacation either. Additionally, there are a lot of schools where, again, elementary school teachers, I've always said, have gotten the short end of the stick, because they have so much stuff piled on them. Every year there's a new program that's getting rolled out and things like that. And it's really, really, I am in the minority in my family. I have a lot of teachers in my family, but I'm in the minority by being a high school teacher. Most of the other teachers in my family are elementary, and they constantly are put through the ringer, and it's just totally unfair. But, you know, that's something that they have to start working towards and planning for over the summer as well. Like I've already mentioned, I was gone for a whole week on a trip for school this year. In addition to that, with my theater program, usually it's a week long, but this year we had to cut it by 2 days to just 3 days. At the beginning of the summer, we have an officer training camp basically for the new thespian officers, and that sort of gets them in the mindset of what their job entails in their new office position and things like that for the next school year. And then we come back at the end of the summer to do that, to continue that process so that they can actually get started on, you know, making the things that they have to make and executing the plans that they created back at the beginning of the summer. So I've got that coming up in the next couple weeks as well. So, you know, there's always something. And then one of the biggest things that happens for teachers in the summertime that is absolutely crucial and necessary is recharging.
Yep.
And I say recharging, not just in terms of like resting or anything like that, but mentally just recharging the batteries, because teachers severely, and Michael is the perfect example. Well, we all are the perfect example of this, but Michael is the perfect example of this when it comes to deciding what he's going to have for dinner, or if they're going out to eat or something like that. Teachers suffer from decision-making burnout. We have so many decisions that we have to make in a given day that are either carry some sort of legal ramifications with it, to, you know, the mundane things that we shouldn't have to make decisions on, but we have to because some higher up is asking us to. And so we are constantly put in front of these questions of, you know, okay, what needs to be done in this situation? What needs to happen in this situation or that situation? And so, yeah, by the time we get home and, you know, our spouse asks us, you know, what do you want for dinner? I don't want to make that decision. I've made too many decisions already in this day. You pick, you know, and that is something I have heard Michael say to his husband, Thomas, more than I can count. And now that
it's even worse when you're both teachers.
Oh God, yes.
Because Thomas doesn't want to make a decision either. And he's like, I just want to pick something for you that you'll like. And I'm like, it comes down to, because Thomas does not cook.
He does sometimes.
What?
Pasta?
Remember that one time he used that little small pot and it boiled all over and everywhere like that? Told him never again. Don't get in my kitchen.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Thomas.
But
I tried.
When we're both teachers, I mean, he suffers from the same stuff. I'm not saying he doesn't. And so he's like, what do you want to eat for dinner tonight? I'm like, I'm not even hungry.
Yeah, like, that's his response a lot of times.
I don't care. I'm not even hungry. He's like, well, and I'm like, I'm not cooking, so you need to figure it out. And so we do. We spend the first 2 weeks of summer just catching up on sleep and recovering.
Feeling practically comatose.
Trying to bring ourselves
just
back to
lethargic normal. Because it is exhausting. And I don't really, because I'm still on for that next week when we do officer camp.
Yeah.
So I don't even get that until usually the second week of summer, but it is emotionally, mentally exhausting. Yeah. Like, you know, not to get sappy here, but like, you know, when we say that we genuinely care about the kids we teach, we mean that. There's a lot of emotional baggage that we end up absorbing from our students, and it's heavy. It's heavy, and that takes a toll. And so that recharge is crucial, because frankly, without it, if we did school 12 months out of the year straight through, my therapy bill would be a heck of a lot higher, and I would probably have left the profession long ago because I wouldn't have been able to take it.
Yeah. So this is coming out of edweek.org, and it's just research. I don't know who did the research. I'm just going to look at it real fast. It says the studies out there show that teachers and air traffic controllers make the most decisions daily. Research has shown that teachers make about 1,500 decisions a day. Not a year, not a week, but a day.
Yeah.
And this can lead to something known as decision fatigue. The need for teachers to be on 24/7 is mentally and physically exhausting. And that's what we are talking about. Like that is where it's at. So
air traffic controllers, making sure the planes don't crash into each other, and teaching. That's the level of stress we're compared with.
Yeah.
So the next time you want to come for us and say, oh, well, you get 3 months off in the summer. What are you complaining about? Slow your roll. Something I can't say on air.
All right, Cletus, calm down. Calm down. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. What are the myths? So one of the myths perplexes me is that, do you get paid for the summertime? Like the teacher pay. I think we've actually discussed this before, teacher pay over the summertime. So our contracts are for 10-month contracts. And so we work for 10 months out of the year.
Yeah.
But they basically pay us 12 months out of the year. So what they do is they take the pay that you would normally receive for 10 months.
Yeah.
And then just instead of dividing that pay, your yearly salary by 10, which would be your 10 months of pay, they basically divide it by 12.
Yeah.
So we get a reduced amount of money each month.
Yes.
And that reduction, the amount of money that's reduced is then put in towards summertime.
But that is on a state by state and sometimes district by district basis.
Yes.
So my cousin Emily, so the first year that I taught in North Carolina, and my cousin Emily still teaches in North Carolina. And it was only while I was back home that I found out it's still done this way. The state of North Carolina, districts in North Carolina do not automatically give you 12 checks out of the year. They will only give you 10. And if you want to be paid, quote unquote, over the summer, it is if you set up they call it a summer cash account with the state employees credit union, and then they will divert a portion of your check into that savings account, and then you can withdraw from it as you wish over the summer, which would have been a nightmare for somebody like me who doesn't know how to manage money in the first place, but I digress. And then talk about how that's done in your district in Arkansas.
Yeah. So both Louisiana and Texas, I've taught in both states, and they've always just given it a 12-month check, But for when I moved over to my district in Arkansas, we get 12-month checks, but they give us the month of June, July, and August basically back to back to back. Like it's day one. Like, so we'll get our check on June 15th. And then June 16th, we'll get our July check. And then June 17th, we'll get our August check. So I already have received all 3 checks for the summer. I won't receive a new check until September 15th.
Which a lot of people would be like, woo, party time. Michael is like, oh, dear God.
Well, I'll tell you, the first year, because it's an adjustment.
Yeah.
That first year, I'm going to tell you that those from September 1 to September 15th, I mean, it is like you're looking at the potted meat.
Yeah.
And the ends of the loaf of bread.
I would, because this is no secret to the people who are listening to the podcast. This is no secret to the people listening to the podcast. I cannot manage money well. And so if I got paid like that, I would be destitute for the majority. I mean, I already am kind of destitute for the majority of the summer as it is, just because I have more free time and therefore more time on my hands that I can spend money. But that would be a nightmare for me. I shudder to think of what that would look like for me if I were paid like that. Now, when I taught at the beach in South Carolina, we were paid every 2 weeks.
I didn't see that. I couldn't handle that either now.
I couldn't. Because I had been paid monthly previously. And that a lot of people think about that and they're like, oh my God, that's awful that you don't get paid once a week or every 2 weeks or something. I can handle that much more efficiently than when I got paid every 2 weeks. I was constantly having to juggle, which bills do I need to pay with this check? Which bills do I pay with that check? And that was a nightmare for me. I hated that. But
I will say that was, so Thomas and I used to work in the same district. And so we would get paid at the same time, which was nice because, again, everything came in at one time.
right.
It's different now because I get paid on the 15th and he gets paid on the 25th.
Right.
So it's kind of like in the middle. And then maybe 10 days later, you have a week and a half later, you have his check coming in. So it's kind of, we've had to kind of figure out what gets paid from what gets paid from the other.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more managing, but it is kind of nice to be able to do that, to have that extra,
Yeah.
But that is another common myth, that we get paid over the summertime. We do not. We don't get paid. We just have our paychecks reduced each month to basically take our paychecks, so that way we can, spread it out.
Yeah.
So it's not, we're not getting extra pay.
No.
It's something we've earned throughout the year. It's just,
they've,
like Brandon said, it's a savings account kind of thing.
Yeah.
What other teacher myths you want to talk about?
So the next myth is that teachers just have all summer off, that they don't work during the summer. Many teachers, especially young teachers, first and second year teachers, have to get a summer job because they can't make ends meet with the salary that they get just from teaching. And in fact, many of those teachers also segue that summer job into a part-time weekend job during the school year. I've had a lot of friends over the years who will wait tables and, I had a friend who was a coach at a former school who would deliver pizzas in the summer. And he was like, hey, it's good enough money. I'll do it on the weekends, whenever I have time, when I don't have a game, so that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that especially for, let's put it in terms that other people would understand, but entry level teaching, when you're teaching that first and second year, you are paid at the bottom of the salary ladder. And so, a lot of times that's not enough. And so teachers will work part-time jobs. I have been fortunate enough, and I say fortunate, it was more just out of sheer determination that I'm a teacher, I'm a professional by God, so therefore I'm not going to work a part-time job in addition to it.
Yeah.
And, especially those first couple years teaching, that was a struggle.
Yeah. Most teachers, those are people that are teachers.
Peachers. Not to be confused with peach growers.
But most teachers, if you're starting out, do not live alone. They have to have roommates. Like, you can't afford, housing and to live alone. You just can't.
No. I had roommates for up until my 7th year, I think.
Yeah. And some states are raising up the minimum teacher pay, like the starting teacher pay, but like Arkansas 2 years ago did our LEARNS Act. And so they basically wiped the salary schedule down. So like for me as a year 12 teacher, I'm still making, according to the salary schedule, the same amount of money as someone fresh out of college.
Yeah.
Like they basically took the minimum salary and raised it up to 50,000 and then took that away from everyone else who had the experience. And so, and that was to recruit teachers. But what they did was they rewarded recruiting teachers, new teachers, but they punished existing
veteran teachers.
Right. And teachers to retain, there's no incentive at all to retain them.
Yeah. And that's what happened, because that was a trend that happened in South Carolina. Well, it's district by district, so it's not statewide necessarily every time, but that happened in South Carolina as well. My district, I was fortunate enough that I was higher up in the number of years of service to where it didn't impact me as much, but teachers who had only been teaching for like 5 to 10 years had that same sort of thing happening to them, where they just weren't getting paid anymore. They were suddenly making the same as a first year teacher and would stay at that, because that's what essentially they did. There was no real pay increase for years of experience for like years 1 through 5 to 10 or so, something like that. Or if there was an increase, it was very, very minimal.
Yeah.
You could count on you're getting a salary bump of about $1,000 each year just for that extra year of service.
It's like $300.
Yeah, which comes out to pennies on the check. So, especially after taxes. So it's definitely something that is misunderstood by the general public who are outside the realm of teaching. And, really you have to live it or live very close to it to really appreciate the struggle that it is to be a teacher and make an honest living. All right. So that does it for our summer teacher myths, for our discussion of summers. So ready for trivia?
Sure. I'm going to do first ladies.
Okay. Which of course means I'm going to do first ladies.
Actually, I'll do New York City.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So your first clue. You can get into New York City from New Jersey by the Lincoln one of these.
What is tunnel?
Yes. The name of this street that cuts diagonally through Manhattan is synonymous with big time theater.
What is Broadway?
Yes. While Soho is south of Houston Street, this fashionable district. Can I finish?
It's Houston, but go ahead.
It's not Houston.
It's pronounced Houston.
What? Oh, that. I thought you were answering the question.
No. I was sorry. Go ahead.
It looks like Houston.
I know it does, but it's pronounced Houston.
Okay, whatever. In south of Houston Street, this fashionable district occupies a triangle below Canal.
What's the garment district?
No.
Oh, below. Sorry, read it again.
While Soho is south of Houston Street, this fashionable district occupies a triangle below Canal.
Oh, hold on. Not Chinatown.
Triangle.
Oh, is it oh God, the film festival. Yeah. Oh my God. Hold on, don't tell me.
Triangle.
I know. I cannot pull it out of my mouth. What is it? Tribeca. Yeah.
Now named for a benefactor, it opened in 1905 as the Institute of Musical Art.
Institute of Musical Art. Oh. Is it Juilliard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brooklyn was the scene of the August 1776 Battle of this island.
Oh God, sorry. I just kind of zoned out when you were reading that. Sorry.
Brooklyn was the scene of this August 1776 Battle of this island.
Oh, Long Island?
Yeah.
All right. Have we done astronomy?
No, we're not doing it tonight either.
Okay.
Astronomy sounds like a thing that you would do.
Well, I was trying to find a science one.
They don't have to be science.
You want mountains?
Are you trying to kill me?
A world of art? Aviation. Stop me when something sounds interesting. Animal Planet. How about that?
Sure.
Okay. Types of this animal the category is Animal Planet.
Mm-hmm.
Types of this animal include Appaloosas, Palominos, and Pintos.
I only know of a pinto bean or a pinto car. Lizards, frogs.
Palominos?
Yeah.
You never heard of Palominos?
No.
They're horses.
Yeah.
Okay. Of fruit, leaves, or insects, it's the one that makes up most of an orangutan's diet.
Leaves. Fruit?
Fruit. Yeah. Oh. Axolotls and mud puppies are types of this 10-letter amphibian.
Is that a salamander?
Yes. The rhinoceros beetle is also named for this titan, famous for shouldering the heavens. Think mythology.
I know, I see him. He's holding... It's not Apollo.
Right first letter, though.
Theseus?
Mm-mm.
Athens? I don't know.
Maps were named after him.
Who?
Maps were named after him.
Congratulations. What is it?
Atlas.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And final clue. South America's only bear has unique whitish rings around their eyes, giving them this name.
Raccoon bear?
No. Spectacled.
I wouldn't have got that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for this week's episode of From Art to Atoms,
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to From Art to Atoms, the Ultimate Curiosity Show, episode number 35. Your hosts are Brandon Shoemaker and myself, Michael Fultz. The show is produced by Brandon Shoemaker and is available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show to stay up to date on all of our latest episodes and news. If you have any questions, feedback, or suggested topics you'd like for us to dive into, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email us at FromArtToAtoms@gmail.com. We would love to hear from our listeners, and we value your input. Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay updated on upcoming episodes and behind-the-scenes content. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at From Art to Atoms, as well as now on TikTok at _From Art to Atoms. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us reach even more interested minds like yours. Thanks for tuning in, and stay curious, everyone.